Canon 700D is the camera that we used when filming our preliminary task and our opening for our film, which was a thriller that we created. As it was a successful camera for our prelim, we were happy with using it for our opening as it had all the correct functions that we needed for filming, for example zoom in and out and alter the focus. Additionally, as I had used it for our prelim, I knew how to use it, therefore filming was more simple as we knew what buttons to press and how to film, as we had already prepared. For some of the shots we were filming, we had to make sure it was in focus as the camera came out of focus a few times. However, it was an easy camera to alter the focus with. As I was the camera woman for our thriller opening, I noticed the positives and the main negatives with the camera, as the problems normally occur when I was filming some of the shots. Therefore, below I have listed the pros and cons that I noticed with the Canon 700D. Right, the positives: it's easy to use, easy to record, simple to understand. We don't need all the complicated buttons to turn to film our opening. That its touchscreen means it's easier to handle, less time consuming, more simple to watch recordings back. It's 1080p, which means clear shots, higher standard and better quality. The negatives: when you film in the dark, the quality of the camera isn't as good, therefore you have to make sure the room where you are filming is light, otherwise it goes grainy. When you zoom in, using this camera isn't very successful as it jolts. Here is the Hamlet Traveller Compact Pro tripod that we used when filming our prelim and our opening for our thriller film that we had to create. It was a good sized tripod and handy to carry around, as you could just fold it and take it to the location needed. As I was filming our opening, I found that the tripod was an important piece of equipment that needed to be used when filming some shots to stop the shakiness. Therefore, it kept the camera steady when filming, making the shot a lot more clearer. Additionally, the extendable legs are useful as you can have the shots at different levels and you don't have to hold the camera to film it. Therefore, the shots are steady and a higher standard, especially if you have shaky hands when filming. The adjustable head is also essential when filming, as you can move the camera to how you want to film it, instead of it just looking straight forward, as you can move the head. So for example, the camera creates a low angle. The tripod was an essential piece of equipment when filming, and as I was the camerawoman, I used it a lot throughout filming to keep the shot steady, as without the tripod our opening wouldn't have been as good, especially as it is hard to keep the camera still. However, I have listed all the pros and cons of the tripod below. Pros: keeps the camera steady, shots are sharper and look a better standard and handy to carry around. Cons: can be unstable if you don't put the legs in the correct place. We used the MacBook Pro when editing our opening in iMovie. As some of us had already used the Mac from editing our prelim, which was me and Lily, we were familiar with using it, therefore we knew what we needed to do and where everything was. As I was the main editor for our opening, I found the Mac easy to use and I was able to do everything that I needed to successfully on it. Also, the footage is simple to move to create a movie, which I liked. Additionally, sometimes the Mac was hard to use when cropping some of the shots to the correct places, however when I got used to it, it was fine. Although creating our opening, I have learnt a lot about the different technologies that we used. Firstly, for the camera, it was new to me at the start of the year. Therefore, throughout the process of creating the preliminary task and opening, I have learnt how to work the camera and what all the different buttons mean. And as I was the camerawoman, I had to know how to work the camera properly, therefore, I think I achieved it successfully, as now I know how to work the Canon 700D. Additionally, due to studying media in Year 11, I had some idea on how to use the Mac. However, I wasn't the full editor, I didn't have that much experience. Therefore, when getting into the Year 12, the prelim really helped me in the fact of learning all the different parts on iMovie, like how to change the speed and lighting and what is needed to create a movie, as I remembered some of it but went over other parts, so that when it comes to editing our actual opening, I knew what I was doing. As I was the main editor for our opening, I felt like I had learnt a lot, as I was now able to edit an opening, and that is what I wanted to achieve. However, I did struggle with a couple of things, as we hadn't done them for our prelim. However, they didn't take long to learn. Overall, through creating the prelim and film opening, I feel like I have learnt a lot, as I now know how to work the equipment and technologies that we have used in the process. As at the start of the course, I only knew the basics on how to use iMovie, therefore I have developed my skills through learning how to work everything at a higher level. When looking back, I sometimes struggle with not knowing whether to add transitions in between certain shots or not, as the majority of the time the shots look better without them. Therefore, the next time I will research more into iMovie and whether people use transitions as much. That way it will back up my knowledge, and hopefully I will have a clearer mind on knowing if they need to be added or not and what looks better. Also, I struggled with knowing what order the credits needed to go in. However, I have already improved on this, as at the end of creating our opening I needed to add them. Therefore, I researched it myself and found out the correct order, so next time I will know straight away. In the production log, with the use of the technologies, I feel I could improve on using the camera when zooming in or out of shots, as sometimes when I tried to do that, the camera would jolt. Therefore, next time I could practice that to get more used to it.